Hello, guys and gals, and welcome. So today I have something special for everybody. This is going to be a very interesting video from a lot of perspectives. I'm going to be going over everything that I feel like can still be done to and change Diablo 2 Resurrected without changing Diablo 2 Resurrected. I went through a big rant earlier on live stream talking about, how as long as you don't change the T-Rex into another dinosaur, then we're fine. It's you can add on a helmet, you can put shoes on him, you can do lots of things to the T-Rex as long as you don't change the T-Rex into a Triceratops or something. And that's kind of what Diablo 2 Resurrected is that as long as you're not changing the core of what Diablo 2 Resurrected is, as long as you're not ruining what Diablo 2 Resurrected represents, then changes are fine in those regards. And so today, what I want to do is go over 8 changes in Diablo 2 Resurrected that I feel like could be made with relative ease that would be welcomed by the community, or at least most of the community anyway. What I want to strongly recommend is that we use this as a kind of a forum for the developers of Diablo 2 Resurrected, so that when they see this video, they can go, oh, okay, this is what people are interested in. They can take a look at the comments, which is what I want you guys to do, and I want you to comment on which one of these ideas you would be interested in, which ones you wouldn't, what changes you would make to my ideas, and so forth and so on, and that way the developers can get a better idea of the community feedback on these topics. Now, granted, the community feedback on this video is going to be only a sample size of the larger community as a whole. So that's why I want to strongly recommend that the majority of you, if you watch this video and you feel strongly about any of these topics, make sure you make a comment on this stuff. Without further ado, let's go over the first on the list. I'm going to start with the best foot forward, and that is the very interesting currency tab. So the currency tab is a very interesting thing. And I have a currency tab right here, as you can see. A very, very interesting currency tab. As you can see above my head, we have a spot for every single one of the the individual runes, right? We've got a spot for each one of the keys. We've got a spot for the dusts. We've got a spot for the tokens. We've got a spot for the organs. And then we have a spot for each one of the perfect gems, the flawless gems, the regular gems, the flawed gems, and of course the chips. And a lot of people are like, well, why even store the chip gems? Why store the flaweds? Well, the answer is because you use those for transmuting up. It's one of the things that most people actually don't have when they want to transmute up is chips and flaweds and normals because they never have them. And the reason why you don't hold on to them is because we really just don't have the space to hold on to those gems. It's quite taxing to try and have to hold on to the chips and flaweds and normals. And the really sad thing is that normally when you start playing hell difficulty only, you get to the point where you just don't even find them anymore. Let alone have them when you need them because, you don't normally hold on to them. Chip gems are used for more than just transmuting up. Also, there's a couple recipes that use chip gems, like recharging charges and very interesting things like that. The currency tab, I don't feel like would detract from Diablo 2 Resurrected at all. There are still a lot of items that you've got to Tetris. Some people have mentioned that, well, inventory Tetris is a part of Diablo, and without inventory Tetris, it's a bad thing. But even with the currency tab, you still have weapons, you still have armors, you still have rings, you still have jewels, you still have charms, you still have a wide variety of items all over the place that are going to need to be inventory Tetrised out the wing-wang. So trust me when I say that the inventory Tetris won't go anywhere just because of the addition of the currency tab. You are still going to be inventory Tetrising for your entire life of Diablo 2 Resurrected, even with the addition of something like this. This is not going to take away from any of the inventory Tetris. It really isn't. Because most of what happens with currency items like this is that if you can't store them, You just leave them on the ground, or you put them on a mule, and the inventory Tetris part is just gone anyway. Like for instance, I had like a million trillion Diablo essences the other day because I was farming Diablo over and over and over and over and over again. And what did I do with them all? I pretty much just threw them away because I can't hold on to a million Diablo essences. It's not something that I can do. But if I had a currency tab like this, I certainly could. This is probably one of the best mock-ups I've seen of the inventory currency tab, and I really feel like they need to implement this. I would be willing even to give up a entire shared storage tab for this. If they said, hey, you can't have this unless you give us this shared storage tab, I would be like, A-okay, bud. Because let me show you something real quick, guys. Look at this entire tab right here dedicated to runes. That's already one entire tab that I basically don't do anything with except for runes. So giving up one of my shared tabs for the currency tab would literally be a net positive for me, not a net negative, because I literally already dedicate one entire shared tab to runes. And then I also have my gems leaking over into another shared tab. So I literally already have two of my tabs being contaminated with currency items. And don't even get me started about keys, okay? Keys are ridiculous. All right, so moving on to the next topic. Number 2, charged item revamp. Charged items are a feature that has been in Diablo 2 Resurrected for a very long time. It's been in Diablo 2, and quite honestly, it's been in the game for a very, very long time. But the issue with the charges is that a lot of the charges are relatively useless. When you look at charges on an item, what you basically see for the most part is a thing that doesn't really give you a whole lot. Number one, the charges are relatively low level, to the point of absurdity. Especially on high level items where the charges could potentially be useful, but are literally not. Take, for instance, the Viper Knuckle gauntlets that I have right here with level 3 multi-shot charges. Level 3 is basically just 3 arrows. That's multi-shot, 3 arrows. 3 arrows on multi-shot, while it could be potentially useful on somebody, is not enough. I would think at least level 5 or maybe 6 or 7 would be more in the range of reality if you were actually going to try and use this on a character. And even then, the number of charges is so low that you would burn through them all so fast that what's the point? So 2 things need to happen for a lot of the charged items in the game. Number 1, the level of the charged ability needs to be adjusted. Unless it is being used by a synergized character, charged abilities are just almost always too low level. The only exceptions to this tend to be skills that don't have a level requirement, basically. Like amplify damage as a charge, which there is actually a couple items that have amplify damage charges, doesn't really matter, right? Because amplify damage is pretty much just size and duration, and even low-level amplify damage is useful. Whereas level 3 multi-shot is nowhere near as useful as like level 7 multi-shot. And you kind of get a better understanding of how these things are balanced very weirdly. There's items in the game that have like level 1 charged bolt charges. Level 1 charged bolt is probably one of the most useless charges I've ever seen in my life. And even at level 1 charged bolt charges would probably be mostly useless. But then you'll start to see them on items where it's like, okay, at level 70, really, with like level 3 charged bolt charges. Woo! So 2 things need to happen with the charges system. Number 1, the level of the charges needs to be increased dramatically. I would like to see, especially skills that are relatively low damage, like for instance Charged Bolt, I would like to see the charges increased massively. Instead of level 3, I'd like to see level 20. Instead of, like level 3 multi-shot, I'd like to see like a bare minimum of like level 7. Maybe even go up a little bit higher. The number of charges on the items needs to be increased as well for them to be anywhere near useful for any characters who might want to use them. 27 charges is not enough multi-shot charges to be anywhere near useful to anyone. I would like to see that go up to at least 100 charges. Also, repair cost for the charges. It needs to be realistic. If the repair cost for the charges is so ridiculously expensive that it's prohibitive to use them, then it makes it almost impossible for anyone to get any benefit out of it. Take the Crescent Moon, which has the level 18 summon Spirit Wolf charges. If I summon the Spirit Wolves real quick, which is they're relatively weak, unfortunately, at level 18, despite the fact that level 18 seems like a particularly high level. Without any kind of synergy bonuses, the Spirit Wolves only have a total of 364 life, and in Hell difficulty, that's nothing. Even at level 54, when you get your hands on the Crescent Moon, that's still relatively nothing. But you can summon, obviously, 5 Spirit Wolves. And the repair cost to repair the Crescent Moon is 339,337. It's insane. For 5 charges of an ability which isn't even relatively useful at all. The Spirit Wolves don't do enough damage to be useful. They die almost immediately. If I take these Spirit Wolves out and I actually utilize them in combat, even supporting them, you will notice that they die like freaking almost instantly. I'll take them over to Eldritch the Rectifier and watch how quickly the Spirit Wolves just vanish from existence. Of course, I'm killing them all with my Dream Aura. Let me swap off my Dream Aura. Oh, and of course, as soon as I swapped off my Dream Aura, I killed them all, which of course is another downside for the summons. In fact, some of the charges summons don't even last more than a couple of seconds because they're bugged. Like, I don't know what it is about specific things, specific items, but like when you use a charge on some items, they stay, and when you use a charge on some summon abilities, like for instance, I think I have a Wisp projector in here, how it has Spirit of the Barb, Spirit of the Wolverine, and Oak Sage. There's also items that have the ability to summon ravens. The ravens don't stay. So, like, despite the fact that you can summon them, they don't actually stay. They just immediately disappear. So a lot of those abilities, those charge abilities, need to be worked on so they don't disappear. Also, the Metal Grid Amulet, which I don't think I have one on me right now, which has the ability of Iron Golem as a charge. That one needs to be fixed so that he doesn't disappear after leaving the game. They have to figure out a way to make the Metal Grid more useful. I really think that Iron Golem could be an amazing thing in Diablo 2 Resurrected if they could work on a little bit and make it so that he doesn't disappear from game to game. I think more people would be interested in working Metal Grid into their build if that was the case. All right, so let's move on to the next one. You guys are going to like this one. This one is super easy. It is additional character slots. And this one might seem like an obvious one, but I feel like a lot of people have hit the wall of 20 characters at this point, especially online. And I also, from what I understand, the console players have a offline limit of 20 characters, or however many it is, which is kind of sad because on the PC there is no limit to the number of characters that you can make. Online, however, like you will quickly hit your head into a wall, specifically revolving around the number of character slots. And as you can see, I mean, not all of my characters are mules. I mean, I have Godzilla, which is my ladder character. And that's the other thing, is that ladder shares character slots with non-ladder, which forces you to delete all of your non-ladder characters. I have my Tankazon. I have one mule here. I have one mule here, so that's 2 mules. But I also have my Energy Shield Sorceress, my Spear Zon, I've got Sapphire, who's my ice and fire Zon. I've got my Conviction Paladin, my Wind Druid, my Wind Werewolf Druid, my Holy Freeze Paladin. I've got another mule there. There's my Summon Necromancer. I have my Shield Barbarian. I'm pretty sure that's my Shield Barbarian. There is my Summon Druid. I've got my TNTs on. I mean, and as you go forward, you start to realize, hey, there's not enough freaking slots. There's not enough freaking slots for all the characters that I want to make. I mean, if you even just take one paladin, like a paladin. Let's go over the number of characters that you can make with a paladin. You can make a Hammeredin, you can make a Smiteadin, you can make a Holy Freezedin, you can make a Holy Shockadin, you can make a Holy Freezedin, you could make a Holy Fireadin, you could make a Vengeance Paladin, you could make a Hybrid Paladin, you can make a Fist of the Heavens Paladin, and that's just the freaking paladin. That's just one character. And you can literally make so many different builds of so many different characters that it's just absolutely insane to have a character limit of 20. So either give us more character slots or let us purchase the character slots. I mean, I am all for supporting a game that I love. If I love a game, I will spend money on the game. And if you want to charge us $5 a character slot, then by all means, do it. There is absolutely nothing that is going to hurt in the game. Make sure that everybody gets the default 20 character slots, and if they want to purchase additional character slots, let them purchase additional character slots. What is wrong with that? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and I feel like a lot of people right now have already hit the 20 character limit and would really like some additional character slots. Which leads me into number what are we on? We're on number 4 now, and that is additional stash tabs. So additional stash tabs, I don't feel like is going to hurt the game at all. In fact, I feel like additional stash tabs will assist the game in the very thing that the game is good at, which is hoarding items. People love to hoard equipment. People love to drop equipment on the ground for other people. We do swap games on a regular basis, but the amount of items that we can hold for swap games is limited to the inventory space that we have. And right now we have 3 shared inventory tabs, which is a pretty decent amount of space. And obviously, compared to before in Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction, the amount of inventory space that we have now is amazing compared to before. And I don't think anyone is complaining that that our current inventory space is terrible. But what we are saying is, hey, we would really like to be able to have more shared stash tabs. And we're also even saying, hey, like we would literally support the game and spend money on these shared stash tabs. Having more inventory space in our stash, not our inventory. So this is completely separate from the inventory. That's a completely different thing. But our shared stash tabs, our shared like in-town stash, I would kill to have more space. Now, in an interview a while back with the developers, they did specifically say that they would not be adding shared stash tabs and a currency tab. I don't have that interview right on hand. You're just going to have to take my word for it. If you want to dive back through my Diablo 2 Resurrected interview videos, I'm sure you can find it. But basically, I think it was the Mr. Llama one. He basically asked them about a currency tab, and their answer was very succinct. What they said is that we would either get a increased stash space or a currency tab, but not both. And they kind of made it very clear that we would have to choose between either increased stash space or a currency tab. Now, if I had to choose between one or the other, I think I would choose the currency tab. In fact, I want you to put you guys' choice down in the comments of which one you would particularly choose. This is a pretty self-explanatory one, and I don't really feel like there's a whole lot to talk about with this, but there is a whole lot to talk about with our next item on the list, and that is an in-game Holy Grail checklist. So bear with me, folks, because this is an interesting idea, and it's been rattling around in my head for a while. In fact, some other people in live stream have also mentioned similar ideas. And basically, what this revolves around is it revolves around the idea that you could potentially make a Holy Grail checklist within the game that would allow you to sort of understand what it is that, like how far you've gotten. This particular Holy Grail website that I'm using right now is an interesting Holy Grail website. And don't get me wrong, it serves the purpose for what it's intended. This is my current completion on Holy Grail, if you guys are unaware. My current completion on Holy Grail is 90.91%. I have pretty much collected just about every item in the game. You don't have to take my word for it. You can literally see me find these items on live stream. Most of them have been found either in my presence or literally like just off screen from me. Like for instance, Tyrael's Might. I was literally playing and Tyrael's Might dropped on the ground, and he's like, "Hey man, Tyrael's Might just dropped from this monster right here," and I'm like, "What? No way!" And he just hands it to me. So like, that's pretty cool. But basically, what I would suggest, and this is a very a simple idea, is that inside of Diablo 2 Resurrected, there would be a panel that you open up. So like maybe you would click on the stash, and then up here at the top, or maybe down here at the bottom, would be like a little armor icon or something, or a little sword icon. And basically what you would do is you would click on this icon down at the bottom of your stash, and it would open up a window that would contain all of the armors, or all of the weapons, or whatever. And then if you found, say for instance, a Blood Thief brandy stock, you could then drag that item over to the Holy Grail panel, drop the item in the appropriate slot, and it would essentially say, hey, you found this item. Congratulations. It would check the item off your Holy Grail list, and there would also be kind of like a hidden panel on this, which would show you like a breakdown of the items that you're missing, what items you have collected, what percentage you're at, or whatever. Maybe, you know, like going over which rare items that you need to be looking for. And the thing that I would recommend for this is that that Holy Grail panel either A, makes it so that the item is gone. So once you have dragged the item into the Holy Grail panel, the item is gone from existence, and it essentially checks off on your account that you have collected that particular item. It would also be for sets too, and various other things. And maybe there could even be a tiny reward at the end, something cool, like maybe a little cosmetic something, just something stupid. Maybe like a cosmetic helmet or a cosmetic armor or something that you could put on. Just, being like, hey, yay, you completed a very hard and very serious challenge, the Holy Grail challenge, where you collect every single item in the game. And that brings us to item number 8. I want to skip over 7 for right now, just simply because number 7 is more of one that I want to do at the end. All right, so number. Did I not update the number on the Holy Grail checklist? Holy Grail checklist was number 6. Yes, number 6, and I totally messed that up. Yay me! So number 8. An in-game transmog system. So if you have never played around with a game that has a transmog system, let me explain very briefly to you what a transmog system is. Let's say, for instance, you find an item. Let's take, for instance, this item. This is a really cool looking item. It is called the Demon Suit Ancient Armor, but that's not what matters here. What matters here is the modifier that you see there that says plus 288 defense based on character level. This special modifier gives this particular armor a white color, which, when placed on a character, makes the character look freaking bedazzled. I can't even explain to you how awesome it makes my character look. Let me take this character to the character selection screen so I can really show you just how amazing this armor makes your character look. In this game are some amazing cosmetics. I mean, look at how beautiful this armor looks on my character. But I'm stuck using the piece of crap Archon plate with no coloring whatsoever because it's a rune word. What I suggest is something really simple. I want to make it so that you can take this Archon plate and you can put it inside of your cube and you can transmute it into a item. Okay. This would create an entirely new market for Diablo 2 Resurrected, and I feel like would be an amazing thing for the game. So hear me out on this idea before you roast me completely, and you're like, no, 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 we can't do that. That's not allowed. That's you demons and buttholes. No, no, no. All right, let me explain this idea fully before you go into denial. So let's say, for instance, you wanted to upgrade an item. How would you upgrade an item, right? So if you wanted to upgrade an item, you would need, like a shale rune, you would need a tal rune, and you would need, a perfect diamond. I know that's not a perfect diamond. It's a flawless. But if you wanted to upgrade an item, you would need those 3 runes, right? So this is my idea, and it's very, very simple. Create a system in Diablo 2 Resurrected where an item can be reduced to a cosmetic item. Essentially, so like this demon suit ancient armor, I could, for instance, take something like, let's say, something more expensive, like maybe a foul rune, a gull rune, and like a perfect skull. And that would be the recipe to strip the cosmetic ability from this particular armor. Then I could take that cosmetic ability item and I could right click on it, just like you right click on a token, you would right click on it and then you would click it onto, say, your Enigma Archon plate. And it would make your Enigma Archon plate have the appearance of the armor that you chose. And I feel like this system could be absolutely amazing for a lot of reasons. Number one, it would give people a reason to hunt down very specific items. So they would hunt down like armors and weapons that have a very specific cosmetic within the game that they would like to have on their character. And this is really, really cool in my opinion because it takes advantage of the already existing system of cosmetics that are within the game. You have all these amazing looking armors, and some people might not necessarily want to wear them, but they're really awesome looking pieces of equipment. Take Tyrael's Might, for instance. It may not be the best piece of armor in the game, but holy Jesus, does it look sexy as all get out on half the characters that put it on. I mean, look at my blue beast over here. It's just absolutely beautiful. And speaking of things that are absolutely beautiful, we have one more topic to talk about. And this is number 7, the one that I skipped over. Number 7, an extras menu. So number 7 is a very interesting one for me. I love Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. And recently I did a video. It was a sort of a behind-the-scenes video called Rob Gallerani Behind the Scenes. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a really cool video. It basically involves Rob Gallerani going over kind of like his thought process, developing the game, what kind of troubles they came across. But one of the things that really kind of hit home to me was all the very interesting tidbits and things that he had on like the development of the game. I mean, he had these very interesting things like this is the book that they found the scan from, and we went to the museum and found the actual art piece that they pulled this from, or the actual piece of armor that they used as a model for this particular piece of equipment, and it's just so interesting. All this information that he has kind of like amassed in the background. And I feel like a lot of people would be very interested in having an extras menu here. I mean, we have the original credits, right? This is the credits for the game. We have I think you can go back and you can look at the old credits. You've got the cinematics. We have an options menu, but why not have an extras menu where we can look at like texture files in high definition, where we can look at, like behind the scenes information, like this particular sword is on display in the museum of such and such, and the original, scan of this particular item was taken from such and such a book, or when we were developing this particular character, we found a very interesting, like anecdote that this particular character was modeled after, such and such's son. And there's all sorts of just deep dive information that they discovered when they were developing Diablo 2 Resurrected that I feel like could be very easily compressed and presented to us in an extras menu, and I feel like it would go over really, really well because there are so many people out there who love Diablo 2 Resurrected, just like I do. I think that's pretty much everything when it comes to the extras that I had thought of in my head. So there are the 8 things that could be added to Diablo 2 Resurrected without necessarily breaking Diablo 2 Resurrected and turning it into a different game. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please let me know what you think down in the comments. Make sure you thumbs up the video and share it. I don't often do this. I don't often, beg for you guys to proliferate a video out, but I feel like if we can get enough eyes on this video, perhaps even one of the developers' eyes, maybe they will take some of these ideas to heart and start working on them toward the game. Maybe they're already working on them and they would really value feedback on these particular features. So put your thoughts about these features down in the comments. Maybe even come up with some features that maybe I left out. I have big hopes for Diablo 2 Resurrected, and I hope that in the future we will see Diablo 2 Resurrected become even more amazing than it ever was in the past. I mean, we already have so many fixes, we already have so many additions to the game that have made it into, it's still very much the same game that we all grew up with, but at the same time, a little bit nicer to play because we have a shared stash and we don't have to go through all the rigmarole to swap items, or the ability to actually see in widescreen and adjust like resolution and things like that, whereas before we were stuck in the old graphics. And a lot of the changes that have been made to Diablo 2 Resurrected, many people will agree, are very good ones. And I hope that some of these changes can be implemented to make the game even more fun and make it last even longer into the future. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and keep watching.